Raw star is worried about Brock Lesnar that he'll appear at Money in the Bank. AJ Styles says former WWE rival legitimately put him to sleep during a match. And Tommaso Ciampa opens up on his partnership with Timothy Thatcher in NXT. Hello everyone, Jose G here bringing you today's top stories in today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. To stay up to date with all of our content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. WWE RAW star worried about Brock Lesnar will appear at Money in the Bank. WWE star Ricochet is worried that Brock Lesnar will appear at this month's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. The former will compete in this year's men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Lesnar made a surprise return to WWE in the 2019 men's Money in the Bank ladder match as a replacement for Sami Zayn. He made an appearance at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view a month after losing the Universal Championship to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 35. Ricochet, while speaking on this week's episode of Raw Talk, discussed the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. He hopes that Brock Lesnar will not return at the pay-per-view once again, as it will spell trouble for other competitors in the match. Saying, quote, "This is my only second Money in the Bank match. The last time around, Brock Lesnar showed up out of nowhere and cost Ali the match. I hope he doesn't show up again, because that would be bad news for all of us." End quote. The last time Ricochet was featured in a multi-man ladder match was in 2019 when the Beast Incarnate won the briefcase. Randy Orton, Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre, Andrade, Ali, and Baron Corbin were the other entrants in that match in 2019. Brock Lesnar hasn't been featured on WWE TV since WrestleMania 36 in 2020. His contract with the company has expired since last year. There are reports of him returning to WWE to face current WWE Champion Bobby Lashley at this year's SummerSlam. A recent report also revealed that Lesnar could return imminently, and there are creative plans ready for him. There also has been some speculation about Lashley possibly facing Bray Wyatt, Goldberg, or Randy Orton at next month's SummerSlam pay-per-view. Sheamus set for in-ring return on next week's WWE RAW. WWE US Champion Sheamus has been away from in-ring action on Monday Night Raw for quite a while. The Celtic Warrior sustained a severe injury almost a month ago as he was fighting Humberto Carrillo during a match. WWE has now announced that Sheamus will be making his highly anticipated in-ring return on next week's episode of Raw. It was revealed during this week's show that the Celtic Warrior has been medically cleared to compete and will defend his US title against his arch nemesis Humberto Carrillo. Sheamus will be looking to get revenge on the Mexican superstar who put him out of action in the first place. The last time Sheamus we saw in a WWE ring was on the May 31st episode of Monday Night Raw. The United States Champion faced both Ricochet and Humberto Carrillo in consecutive matches. Unfortunately for Sheamus, the night ended on a sour note. Not only did he lose both matches, but the Celtic Warrior was also on the receiving end of a blow from Carrillo, which ultimately resulted in his month-long absence. Sheamus had to undergo surgery to repair the damage he sustained during the match. However, he refused to vacate the title and did make some sporadic appearances on Monday Night Raw. Adam Cole comments on his matches with Kyle O'Reilly. The heated rivalry between the former Undisputed Era members Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly will continue on the NXT special, The Great American Bash. Ahead of this heated rematch, Adam Cole sat down with Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful to discuss various topics. When the match with O'Reilly came up, Sapp asked about what's it like to wrestle against a close friend. Cole offered an in-depth response and explained that he doesn't want to hurt O'Reilly, but their relationship allows them to go all out in the ring. Saying, quote, "You definitely hit each other a little bit harder because you know there's not going to be any issues. But at the same time, under no circumstance do I ever want to put him in a situation where I feel like I could ever seriously hurt him. I might be more apt to jump in and be like, hey, I don't want you to get hurt. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we're blasting each other." End quote. At the end of the interview, Ross asked Adam Cole for his final thoughts regarding his big match with Kyle O'Reilly. Cole stressed how important this bout is because of their first straight-up wrestling match in NXT, and he's quite excited about it. AJ Styles says former WWE rival legitimately put him to sleep during a match. AJ Styles has recalled the time that Samoa Joe choked him out with his coquina clutch submission move during a match. Joe appeared on last week's episode of Wright and Stanton's Out of Character podcast. When discussing the coquina clutch, He joked that he enjoyed executing the move on Styles because he likes the smell of his former on-screen rival's hair. Styles was the latest guest on Satin's podcast this week, and the two-time WWE champion said Joe once legitimately put him to sleep with the submission move, saying, quote, I don't. Man, I don't know what conditioner I use, Styles joked. Did he ever tell you when he finally got the coquina clutch on me and totally choked me out? I was out. I went to sleep in a match. Thank God it was the finish because I was asleep, end quote. AJ Styles is not the only WWE superstar who has been choked out during a match. In 2006, John Cena accidentally put Edge to sleep during their TLC match at the Unforgiven pay-per-view. Samoa Joe and AJ Styles both spent a decade in Impact Wrestling before they joined WWE in 2015 and 16 respectively. In 2018, the two men were involved in a WWE Championship rivalry on SmackDown. Their first WWE pay-per-view match ended in a DQ victory for Joe at SummerSlam, so Styles retained the title. Styles went on to retain the WWE Championship against Joe at Hell in a Cell 2018, Super Showdown 2018, and Crown Jewel 2018. He also defeated Joe in a steel cage match at Starrcade 2018. Tommaso Ciampa opens up about his partnership with Timothy Thatcher in NXT. Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher faced off in the Fight Pit earlier this year in January. Despite being unable to win the first match, Ciampa won Thatcher's respect and the two became tag team partners. In a recent interview with Rick Ucchino of Sportskeeda Wrestling, Tommaso Ciampa discussed his chemistry with Thatcher and compared the partnership to his previous one with Johnny Gargano. Ciampa also spoke on how he initially did not know if his partnership with Thatcher would work and how it became clear that they had chemistry after their first match. Here's what NXT superstar Tommaso Ciampa had to say to our very own Rick Ucchino in this Sportskeeda Wrestling exclusive.
Yeah, and your partnership with Timothy Thatcher has been something that's really been fun to watch come together. I think it's obviously a really natural fit, you two guys together. Did you realize that you had this chemistry with him right away?
Yes and no. So we had wrestled one time on Independence, and we had chemistry, and I knew that. We had a very common respect for each other. When he came to NXT, we just kind of didn't cross paths, and then we had those two matches, War Games and the Fight Pit, and obviously I knew we had chemistry as opponents because we're like-minded, we're similar styles. We pull out an aggression with one another and a grit that, it makes it stand out. The tag thing, no, I had no clue because it's a very different dynamic than, with Johnny. With Johnny, I always knew okay, well, Johnny is, he's a hot tag guy and he adds an element that I don't. He's got some flashiness to him and he's different than me. So I knew we had like a yin and yang type thing. With Timmy, it was well, we're similar. We're very similar. And I didn't know if that was going to work or not. And then we had that first match with Undisputed Era with Roderick Strong and Adam Cole, and the bell rang. And I just remember looking back at him afterwards and being, "Hey, we got something like that." There's no doubt. We came back through the curtain, and I think Shawn Michaels was the first person I saw, and that was actually my quote to him. I was like, "I guess we have chemistry," and he just kind of laughed and was like, "Yeah, no crap you do," and it's been that. It's been so easy. And I think one of the reasons is because there's no rookie in this team. There's no young guy trying to learn or keep up. It's like you took two stars who are very confident in who they are, and you just said, okay, now go do your thing. I don't have to worry about Timmy. Timmy doesn't have to worry about me. And that's a huge relief in a tag team when you're just kind of you have a trust right out of the gate. It's very helpful.
You can watch the full interview with Tommaso Ciampa and Rick Ucchino exclusively on our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching today's Sportskeeda Wrestling News Roundup. For more news stories and exclusive content, be sure to follow us on all social media. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Download the Sportskeeda app for the most up-to-date stories in the world of wrestling.